A new study was published in January of 2025 that I had no idea even existed. Flew under my radar, especially with the whole RFK Jr. looking into autism and seeing is there some environmental factor. You would think this would have come up, but it didn't. So this was a study done in January, published January 2025 in Science, Public Health, Policy, and the Law, which is a peer-reviewed clinical research science journal. It was written by Anthony Mawson and Binu Jacob, and it is called Vaccination and Neurodevelopmental Disorders, a study of 9-year-old children enrolled in Medicaid. And I'm going to keep this short so I can keep it on Instagram. So basically, they looked at Medicaid kiddos, 47,000 of them who were age 9, and they looked at their vaccination status and their diagnosis of a neurodevelopmental disorder. That included autism spectrum disorder, encephalopathy, seizures, tics, hyperkinetic disorders, learning disabilities, things like that. And what they found is the vaccination was associated with a significantly increased odds for all measures of neurodevelopmental disorders. Among children born preterm and vaccinated, 39.9% of them were diagnosed with at least one neurodevelopmental disorder, compared to only 15.9% of preterm children who were unvaccinated. That was an odds ratio of 3.58, meaning 358% increased risk if they were vaccinated versus not, and the confidence interval did not cross 1. It was 2.8 to 4.57. The relative risk of autism spectrum disorder increased according to the number of visits that included vaccination. So children with just one vaccination were 1.7 times more likely to have a diagnosis of autism compared to unvaccinated. Whereas children who had 11 or more visits, which is typical between the age of 0 and 9, they were 4.4 times more likely to have a diagnosis of autism. And that was statistically significant. The confidence interval was 2.85 to 6.84. So, kiddos in general who got a vaccine had a higher risk of neurodevelopmental disorders. Preterm babies were even higher risk, at 39.9% of them being diagnosed with some form of neurodevelopmental disorder. And children who got the more vaccines they got, the more risk they had of neurodevelopmental disorder. So I'm going to link this study in the comment section, but when people say there are no studies showing that there's a link between autism and vaccines, they're lying. They're lying, because there was one that literally just came out.